it's also 5 p.m. for me. So if I have coffee now, then I'm not sleeping tonight. So
Oh yeah, no.
yeah, I'm too
Me very.
sensitive to it after
I was
lunch.
gonna say. What about tea? No tea?
Oh well, yeah. No, it's nearly beer o'clock. That's the
Oh
trick.
yeah, yeah.
So
For you,
okay.
it's allowed, I guess. I have my coffee background, so very on point, I guess. All right. So I think we can get started. So welcome to this session of the coffee break. This is gonna be episode 23. I'm actually covering for the second time around new dad Augusto Goncalves. So big shout out to Augusto, who's probably not sleeping enough right now, but that's okay. And I hope he's having a lot of coffee as well. So episode number 23. I see some folks are joining from, and I do recognize a couple of names actually. How are you, Jill? And I see Frode,
Fine,
Buster,
thanks, Rami.
Remy. Awesome. All
Hello.
right. Okay, and then I guess I want to kind of like open up the floor to see, and we can start with some kind of like topics for today. I don't believe we have any company that is interested in talking a little bit more about what they're doing today. So it's kind of like more of an open floor if you guys have questions that we can help you out with. If not, we can touch base on a couple of upcoming things that we have with the platform, like the Forge maintenance that we have upcoming on June 12th. Basically, it's gonna be a maintenance for about 30 minutes, just on the it's gonna be on Saturday, June the 12th, and it's might affect some of your applications for a small like span of time. You can say small or large depending what you're using, but it's in relation to the authentication. But after that, everything should be good to go. It's gonna be at 7 p.m. Pacific time, so probably for some of you in Europe, that's gonna be like 2 a.m. I hope you're not doing Forge stuff at 2 a.m. In Europe on Sunday, so I think it should be okay for now. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask away. And also, if there is anything do we want to share about, we can also touch base on some of the latest stuff that I spotted that someone, like for example, um, uh, one topic that it's available right now, it's that we have AU dates announced. So it's going to take place this time in October, which is quite new. So it's going to be something different. So again, virtual mode, no need to travel to anywhere at this point. Not yet. We're almost there, but not yet. It's gonna take place for in different kind of dates. For the US, main focus it's gonna be between the 5th of October and the 7th. And we are planning to have, previous to that, Forge Hackathon. So we had a Forge Hackathon last year. I don't think we have officially sent the announcement to it, but I'm the one organizing it, so I can actually tell you, let you in on that little thing that we are planning the Forge Hackathon sometime around before AU actually. So I will say start thinking about your teams. It will be great to have you guys around. And also, if you're not planning to participate, then I want to kind of like open up the floor. We're looking for judges as well. We need judges to help us out with the grading of those applications. We had a great time last year. We did have really cool projects that came along, and the judges were fantastic also, like helping us out picking the winners, which was quite a hard task to do. But because we did have a lot of projects, we even ended up giving like some kind of honorable mentions, because we had that many that we were like, these are too good to not show them to the world. So definitely it's something that we're thinking about. And then I don't know, does anyone from my team wants to bring up something, some kind of topic that you guys are interested about discussing?
Yeah, I'll just mention that SPF2, we're still in beta with that. We're working on the properties issue now. And so last I heard, I had a meeting with them last week, late on Thursday, and they are planning to roll out that properties update sometime in June. We're hoping the week of June 21st at this point. So as soon as that goes out, I'll probably do a blog post just to let everyone know that that properties update is there. And that's to address the DB IDs being different for SVF2.
Awesome. Thank you, Kevin.
Yeah.
All right. And then another thing to announce is that we have also an upcoming accelerator. It's going to be within the week of the 24th of June to the 28th, I believe. Yeah, I think I got those dates right. So if you guys are working on any kind of project that you would like to continue, or you have a new idea that you wanna get started with, please feel free to send us a proposal. My colleague Joao, it's taking care of that initial review process. So feel free to send us the application. We still have a couple spots available, so definitely I would say take advantage of that. If there is something that you guys want to explore, like the use of data visualization API, it's kind of like growing day by day. So it is at a more like robust state than it was at the beginning of the year. I think I do have Michael on the call, so if you want to add up into the comment of data visualization, feel free to it.
Yeah, sure. Data visualization extension is now a general release. The team is still adding new features to it as they go, based on the feedback everyone's providing. So yeah, there's some cool new visualization stuff coming around beyond planar heat maps. I can't really say too much, but yeah, I think if you follow some of the work that Keen Walmsley's been doing, Keen's on the call here with Dasher 360, and I know Dasher 360 is slowly migrating over to the new data viz extensions. Keen, did you want to? I know you've got some cool blog posts on that stuff.
Yeah, so yeah, definitely go along to keynw.com and you'll see, or /IoT is probably the best category to go sort of find the posts that relate to this, or /Forge. But it's there, we've been talking about some of the things we've been doing inside Dasher over the last few weeks. I mean, we've been in since I think the late April is when we started integrating sprites, so the sensor dots. Again, all of this code is code that a lot of this code is code that came from Dasher originally, but has been reworked to be properly engineered and nice, with a much nicer developer experience. So we've been picking up those changes, and we've done sprites. We've done volumetric room heat maps. We've done planar heat maps, which we didn't have before. That was something that's been added. So we've gone ahead and added those as well. And I think what I've been working on most recently is around the mapping of heat maps to objects. So the classic example we have is for the MX3D bridge. That's an interesting one because that's a different scale of model. So that's actually modeled in millimeters. So because it's such a large coordinate space, there are some quirks with the shader that need to be fixed on the Hyperion side, because we something that we'd kind of built in before. We need to get that stuff configured as options for the Hyperion shader so that works well. So that's something I'm talking to Ben from the Hyperion team about fixing. That I'll be testing in the next couple of days, and hopefully that'll be in 7.45, which is the next release of the viewer. And then otherwise, I'm starting to play around with displaying sensor data, so coloring objects like sensors or walls, or I think the example they use in the documentation is an air chiller, but taking sensor data and applying that to a whole object. So I'm starting to play around with that. There's one interesting use case that we might use for the nest building where we'd like to be able to display when a user is logged in at at the security terminal in the reception area. So that's something that we're looking at enabling with that kind of workflow, so that you'd see that the terminal goes red when somebody's logged in, or it's green when it's free. So that's kind of an interesting use case for this stuff that we're exploring. Yeah, so that's it. It's all going very well so far. I mean, one of the things that I was worried about with integrating Hyperion was that I thought I'd have to pick up all the data aspects and start to use the Hyperion, our own server based on the Hyperion data gateway and data adapters. But as it turns out, that's really optional. So that for us has been really useful because we can keep our existing data backend and then just use the front end components. So that has been a lot easier for us to do than expected. And I will probably get around to doing more of the back end work at some point to see if that works for us as well. But for the moment, it's been very easy for us to just focus on the front end.
Hey, what did you think of the planar heat maps in comparison to the volumetric stuff?
Well, they're wrong. Sorry, no, I mean, no, they're good for certain types of data. So you can't really use them to show planar. You can't use the current planar heat maps to show sensor data from a space, because what happens is you might have 3 sensors that are 25 degrees that are quite close to each other in the terms of the space, but because they're close to each other, they contribute more to the heat map. So they look like that area is 28 degrees, where in reality, you're just sampling the same thing, but close together. So it works fine if you've got sort of well-spaced sensors in a space and you can show them as a planar heat map and it works fine. But otherwise, you really kind of need to use the volumetric heat map to get that right. So it's very good for things like, and I think this is one of the good examples you've used or worked on, Michael, is like, if you've got a retail store and you're tracking visual activity, so you can see where people are looking and you can sort of display that as a heat map. That's really good. You can use it for things like COVID tracking, where you can detect where people are touching a work surface, and that you can show via a planar heat map really effectively. It's just not a very good way of displaying sensor data, in my opinion. But that is something that Ben is talking about, taking some other work that we've done inside Dasher with our 2D heat maps and then having the ability to generate those as well, because it just uses the same volumetric shader just with a top-down camera. So that's something that's probably, hopefully, going to may get exposed on the Hyperion side at some point. But yeah, so I'll sort of maybe restate what I said. They're not wrong. They're just better at certain types of data than others. And I think there's a time and a place for both the existing planar heat maps and then future 2D heat maps. But right now, if you're looking to display sensor data, I'd recommend against it, because the chances are there will be cases where they're not correct.
Right, the right tool for the right job. Makes sense.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, definitely. Have you guys played around with? I know you guys did a lot of stuff around occupancy maps and the pathways of people moving throughout a building. Would that be applicable to that sort of heat map, planar heat map shader?
Yeah, maybe. So I mean, well, that's the thing. At the moment, it depends on. Yeah, so we have when we actually show movement of people, so far we've used sprites for that, because that's quite effective to show sort of dynamic data and people moving around. We could use planar heat maps. That might be an interesting one, because then you can really start to see. Actually, that's an interesting point. Maybe I should go and do that, because I think that would be quite cool to see the concentrations of people in a space. not just in terms of sprites, but actually sort of see how they contribute to a congestion map of some sort. So yeah, that's actually a good use case. Yeah.
Oh, goody. I'm glad we found a use case for it.
No, I mean, I think again, it's useful. It's just important to be aware of the limitations for visualization techniques, because you can end up
Totally.
giving people the wrong idea about what's going on.
Yeah. Actually, also speaking about back ends and the different data sources, I was working in the last accelerator with a company, and they got me excited about Influx Db. Sort of a bit of a shout out to those guys. I didn't realize that they had come so far. They've got quite the ecosystem around storing, sensor data and time series databases, and easily connecting it with MQTT protocols. So yeah, really, really nice. Nice to see an open source solution that's really geared towards that industry, and very straightforward. It's been quite easy to hook it up to the data visualization stuff.
Yeah, so we definitely looked at that. I mean, it's yeah, I think they've come a long way. When we looked at them, it was a long time ago, and I think it was still very immature. And what we needed something a bit more scalable and robust. But so we haven't looked at them. Our back end team hasn't looked at that for quite some time. But as it was so long ago, I have no doubt that they've made huge strides since we looked at them.
I didn't know about this, guys.
Yeah, but it's I'm going to be careful what I say here, but there's also plenty of other good hosted solutions out there too, and the data visualization extensions. Yeah, they're designed to work with all sorts of hosted solutions like Azure and AWS, etc. Yeah.
Hi, Michael.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
I just wanted to ask a question about the, in particular, Azure. I think a couple of months ago at the first data visualization accelerator, I think that we were expecting more of an update to come in terms of connecting to Azure. Has that happened over time?
There has been a little bit of work on that, but not a lot. Not since you were at the accelerator. There is some new documentation, I think, in the works from memory, but I don't think there's anything new in terms of the code base. I could be wrong there, but as far as I know, it hasn't been updated yet.
Okay. One other question, if I may.
Yeah.
I'm curious about what was said earlier about using the sprites, but however, instead of tracking people, I would like to track actual bringing things to a construction site or items being installed on a site. Like, for instance, if they're wide flange beams, and understanding when they're actually in place, and perhaps those sprites changing color. I think I mentioned that before, but I didn't know if there was any improvements that might affect that code-wise.
I know the animation example has been updated, and that includes some, the example of changing colors of sprites, changing their icon, that sort of thing. I'm not sure if I'm breaking up there.
No, you're fine.
Yeah, so this the code example now on the animation sprites examples page just has a full HTML example of how to make those animation changes. So hopefully it's a little bit easier this time. Was that the question you were asking?
Yes. And I guess the way to do it would be to, well, I'll look at the example, but map those sprites to DBIDs of elements.
Exactly. And so there's in the last of the three examples, there's a mouse click example. And I think at the bottom of that section, there's a little bit of code that explains how to click on a sprite and get back the object associated with that sprite. So that way, if you wanted to attach a number to that, like a DBID, which it's already got, or you wanted to attach an object, like say, you know, a database connection, or some other, you know, some other metadata information, you can do that. And that example code there just is very badly written. I think I put that together with Ben, but it was there to really just make the point of you can attach any object you want. In this case, there's a number that says my lucky number is the object, but you can make that object anything.
Thanks.
One thing that you might want to bear in mind when working with sprites is, at least at the moment, it's kind of like a global sprite list for for the use of Hyperion. So we use sprites for different things, such as the location of sensors, and then also occupants as well, and then, you know, dynamic sensors. But you kind of have to put in some logic that initializes them, and then lets each type of sprite get initialized, and then sort of finishes up the initialization process. You can't treat them all separately because they'll overwrite. The last one that you do will overwrite the previous ones. So if you're thinking about using sprites for things other, you know, for multiple different things, you probably have to coordinate the initialization of those sprites. So this is something that the Hyperion team is aware of. I don't know if it's being actively, I wouldn't say addressed. I mean, you know, it's just something that at the moment, that's the way you need to work, is to sort of handle that coordination on your side of things.
May I ask you a question?
Yep. You're breaking up a bit.
I'm in very noise environment. Sorry. Can you hear it now?
It still break up a bit.
My sound clear? Just 1 second.
No.
I'm just trying to change the microphone.
Maybe try to turn off the camera.
Okay, just sound right now. It's better.
No. Sorry.
Okay. Can you hear
Can
me?
you? A bit.
Okay. I will summarize it a little bit. I'm a very noisy environment. I'm very sorry about that.
Okay.
Right now, I'm an architect who can code actually. Right now, I'm working in a project that includes a digital twin AI and IoT. I developed the BIM model. Then I integrated with Porgy API recently. I also came with mini IoT sensor. I program it. Then I used Accelerator to connect it together to send the data sensors to the cloud. But unfortunately, I couldn't connect Porgy with Accelerator. I checked all the documentation that you provide, but unfortunately, I could. There is an article there. You said that you will put it soon, unfortunately, but I couldn't find anything related to it. So can you help me with any documentation or something that I can connect Azure with 4G? I hope you could hear me.
Yeah, I think I heard some of it. Yeah, but yeah, exactly. That's what I heard about the Azure article. If anyone else heard a bit better what he was asking.
Yeah, so far the Azure documentation is it's very minimal. We've somewhat taken it off the main general release documentation, but it's still in the old documentation, the sandbox. And there's talk of bringing that back, but cleaning it up and making it more useful. Currently, the only way to do any kind of Azure integration was getting Kevin Lee and coming along to the Accelerator and working through it. So that happened at the last Accelerator. There was one company that was working with Azure, and yeah, Kevin Lee was helping them integrate that. But yeah, the documentation needs it does still have some updating to do before it's released to it's updated on the main documentation page. So in other words, no change right now.
Okay, how can I I can join your Accelerator program? Can you send me some link, or how can I
Yeah, I can actually
join you?
show you.
Because I really need it actually.
Yeah, no, I understand. So the next one, let me share my screen. So the next one, yeah, so the dates were wrong. Thanks, Joel, for that. It's gonna be from June the 21st to the 25th. You can, let me send you this link here on the chat, and also for the others, in order for you to be able to send a POC description. I will say try to be as descriptive as you can on what you want to work on. I know in your case, it's going to be more about the Azure help with the data visualization API, but it will definitely help us out if we know how to identify what's the project that you want to work on. So you can register. It's open for registration. So I'll say go ahead and register, and that way we can start looking into the proposal, and that way we can let you know when this has been approved or if we're missing anything, and then just basically join the accelerator for that week, and we will have the team from the data visualization team join us as well. So that way we can help you out with that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Do you got the link?
I got the link. I will check it right now. I'm just opening it from my phone. I'm on my way.
Oh, okay.
Sorry for that.
No, it's okay. Don't worry about it. All right. So yeah. So for those of you, basically, we have that accelerator on the 21st to the 25th. I'll say, if you guys wanna continue working on your projects, or just you're coming up with a new idea or something like that, definitely take a chance to join us. I don't know when do we have another one after that. We might actually have one in July, but I'm not completely sure yet. Cyril might know. If not, the ones later on in the year will be a chance for you to join us. So we're actually coming close to the mark of the 30 minutes. And what's next? So we have, again, another coffee break on June the 16th. I added my Twitter handle now because I think I'm still gonna be also being your host for that next one. So if you have any questions, please bring your coffee mug, and then we can chat about any of the updates about the platform or any other work that you might be interested in. And then just please reach us out. You know how to find us. Send us an email or anything like that, and we can discuss about some of the next work that you guys are going to be working. The accelerator last week was actually quite good. We do have someone here that presented last week, Tolgay from Codio, did an amazing presentation. So definitely it's something that we see worth into working together with you guys on that week. And also Tolgay can share a bit of the words of how that week went. But
you want me to talk now, or?
You can just do a quick, I guess, shout out to how the week went.
Oh yeah, of course. So this is I think it was our third or fourth accelerator, and yeah, like the entire week goes pretty smooth. So we get help from Autodesk employees. If you guys want to join in, you know, accelerator events are amazing to attend. Just to the first one, I didn't know much about Forge, for example. Now we actually develop, you know, end user customer experience applications. So yeah, I mean, definitely worth a look and attend. And it's like 24 hours. So yeah, definitely attend it, guys.
Awesome. Thank you, Tolgay. So yeah, so the link is on the chat. Feel free to to register, and then we will look into your proposals, and that way we can have you guys over for the next one. And with that, I'll say thank you again for joining. This one went actually quite quick. Thanks, Key and Michael, for sharing some of the insights about data visualization and the work that you're doing. Yeah. Appreciate a lot. So thank you guys, and hope you have a good day.
Hey, thanks, Jaime, for your first one.
All right.
And
Take care, guys.
if Augusta is listening, good luck, mate.
Yes, sleep.
See you guys.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, bye.
Thank you. All right.